All right. Okay. Hello once again, everyone. Good evening. My name is Nicole. I'm really excited to dive into today's session. Last time, we talked a lot about the big truth of English pronunciation, right? What you see is not always what you hear. That's the gist of it. We saw how English spelling can be quite inconsistent here, with silent letters, with multiple letters making one sound, and even one letter making many sounds. We concluded that we really need a better system to consistently understand and produce English sounds, right? So, today, we are going to meet that better system. We're going to explore the International Phonetic Alphabet, or IPA. So, what is IPA? What is the IPA? Now, don't let the fancy name scare you. Think of the IPA like a universal map for sounds. That is it. Imagine you're trying to find a specific street, but all the signs are confusing. The IPA is like a clear, consistent GPS for every single sound in every language. For English, it gives us a precise symbol for each of those. How many sounds are there in English language? How many sounds we mentioned last time? There are Yes, there are 44 sounds that we mentioned last time. These 44 sounds are the different distinct sounds that all 26 English alphabet letters make. Okay? Again, how many are on the vowels? There are 19. Out of the five, not out, but yeah, from the five vowel letters, a, e, I, o, u, it produces 19 in total vowel sounds. Whereas for the consonants, there are 20, how many? 21. 21 left. And it produces a total of 25 consonant sounds. So we try to add all those consonant sounds, we get 44, which is our English sounds that we mentioned last time. So that is it. Now, the beauty of the IPA that each symbol represents only one sound and each sound is represented by one and only symbol. No more guessing, so it cuts through all the spelling confusion and focuses purely on how sounds are really made. So what we will do Today we're going to memorize the whole chart, of course. You will be seeing a whole chart later. I've already let you see it for a moment yesterday, right? Just a preview. Yeah, let you pick on the chart yesterday. But yeah, I know that what you can remember about the chart that I showed you yesterday is that it looks really hard. It looks complicated. It looks confusing with all these symbols. Now, don't worry for that. How do you call that? Don't worry for that. We are not going to memorize the whole chart, of course. Absolutely not. Our goal is to first understand what the IP is and why it is useful. Of course, that's the basics. Second, get familiar with how it helps. And lastly, of course, looking at some common symbols, especially for those tricky English sounds. All right. So it's about giving you a powerful tool that you can use to confidently look up and learn the pronunciation of any English word without being tricked by its spelling. So it's a game changer for clear communication, basically. Now, again, we are going to talk about the topic pronunciation. The lesson pronunciation. Under the topic, Introduction to English Sounds and the IPA, but we are going to focus on the IPA for today, for the second session, because we've already talked about English sounds. Most particularly, we've talked on the letters versus sounds. Okay? All right. Now, moving on to this next slide, let us take a look at this. Now, as you can see, English is often inconsistent. English spelling does not always guide pronunciation, which is, of course, obviously correct. Now, if you remember, this is a key takeaway that I've mentioned or I have provided on yesterday's session, if you have remembered, right? Okay, all right. Where are we? We are on that particular thing. All right. Let's move on to this. This idea is very simple. What you see is not always what you hear. Okay? That's just basically it. All right, moving on. Does this look so familiar to you? Because this is, these are examples that we have provided earlier. All right? Okay. I let them play on their own. Okay. Mm, now, you might wonder what's the difference between the two. First is that one letter has many not difference, but um how random it is that when we say mismatch and specifically more on letters versus sounds, it neatly summarizes the two core challenges we discussed last time, right? There are two core challenges. First is that one letter many sounds, meaning you see the letter a used in cat, in father, and came, each with a distinct sound. Well, that's just an example, and it's not mine, but it's okay. Now, that is one letter many sounds. Does it look so does the presentation look good, look fine? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Good. Next to that is that many letters has one sound. And here, what are our very examples? The words fish, phone, and enough, which all making the same F sound. All right? These are the exact complexities that English spelling presents. It's a reminder that relying on these alphabet alone to guide pronunciation is trying to navigate a maze without a map. This slide perfectly brings us to our solution for today because of all these very mismatches. We need a consistent way to represent sounds, a way that cuts through all the spelling confusion. Okay? All right. Get it. Now, where are we? A moment. All right. Now, here is this it? Yeah. Here, I've already talked about IPA, right? But you are still not introduced to that. I will be introducing you to IPA later because it's really an important, aspect of pronunciation, especially when you're really not sure how that particular word sounds. You can go look up the pronunciation, and of course, you know how to wear such things properly. Okay? All right. So that is on um the mismatches when it comes to letters versus sound. First, again, is one letter has many sounds. All right. One letter has many sounds. An example we have here is cat, father, and came. All with short, not short, but yeah, all with utilizing the letter A, but different pronunciations. That's what the first row thinks. One letter, many souls, many letters, one sound. Many letters, one sound. And here we have F, P, H, and G, H all making the same amount of sound. These are the exact complexities in English spelling presents, it's a reminder that relying on the alphabet, alone, rely on the alphabet alone, it guides pronunciation is, you know, when it comes to guide pronunciation, it is likely trying to navigate a maze without a map. That's just it. This slide perfectly brings us to our solution for today. Because of these very mismatches, we need, of course, a consistent way to represent sounds. All right? Okay. Yeah. So, we understand that solution there are really many mismatches so far. We need a consistent way to represent sounds a way that cuts through it all the spelling confusion. Okay? Let's start with the first one. So, this is the perfect. This is the perfect question to ourselves after everything we've covered. What you see on the screen, use question. Okay? All right. Next to that is this is the perfect question to ask someone or ourselves after everything we've covered. Cat, yeah, it's that's the face. All right. So exactly this point, new prof dress. Don't know what I'm doing, but yeah, because how do you call that? If the spelling is not enough, again, if the spelling is not enough, all right, okay. Now with that in mind, now with all those things in mind, so if spelling is not enough, how do we get a clear communication or conversation? All right. Okay. So that is for um her plans. Don't know when will that be commencing, but it's all planned still. Okay. All right. Next to that is this one. So, what you can see on the screen, what you can see and read is that if spelling is not enough, how do we get clear performance? Just like what I've been saying, okay? This is the big question, isn't it? Because if we can always have trust the letters, we can be sure who we're providing out again. All right? Okay. So again, if spelling isn't enough, how do we get clear pronunciation? Of course, with arising issues or problems in language, there will also be, a space for how do you call that? Men's. Uh, mm, I don't know. Wait. Yeah, more so. This is the perfect question to ask ourselves after everything we covered. What you see on the screen now poses the skin to the section. All right? Okay. All right. This is where the International Phonetic Alphabet comes in. If the spelling is really not enough, how do we get clear pronunciation? Then that is on Shuvi. Shuvi. Where did I get that? That's actually one of the many names that came out to my mouth because just for you to also be to also see if you're following with me because you will be able to wonder who is that particular person I am talking to. You might want to ask something about that person, so your interest or your motivation really focuses on me. All right. Okay. So again, if the spelling is not enough, we use a proper and good camera, whether it's on phone or it's separate. We get a clear pronunciation with how do you call it, International Phonetic Alphabet. All right. Okay. Next to that, Since we're already talking about the international phonetic alphabet, then of course we are going to focus on that. Our international phonetic alphabet, or also known as IPA, International Phonetic Alphabet. So she already got an office for herself, which is, my friend. She's very happy for her brother because she gets a new, how do you call that? New thing for meetings. Okay. All right. Next is IPA. So IPA is a symbol for which four out of eight mermaid. Okay. All right. Next to that is, where are we again? Okay. All right. Now, when you try to really dig deeper into this video and see what one of the two girls are wearing, then I'm just trying to put it back on, still with a Bluetooth feature. All right. Okay. So here, absolutely, I definitely liked it, as well as the members noticed our voiced in voiceless. You'll be able to be with them sooner, like an advertisement, for example. That would be great, of course. All right. Now, the actual part of how linguists sound organized and describe are these sounds with IPA system. The phonemic chart is a specific section of IPA symbols and used for particularly language like useful and voiced, which refer to the, you know, how do you call that? Yeah, that's actually a part of how low linguists is in the sour and organization. All right. That's just, some simple problems or issues that we can resolve if we want to. But again, we are going to focus on International Phonetic Alphabet. All right. IPA. Okay. Those are fascinating details that we will definitely touch on later when we, kind of like start working or whatever. All right. Okay. That is good. For a moment, let me drink my water first. Let me hydrate myself. You can also have a water break for yourself, everyone. Okay, going back. Yes, we are going to focus on IPA. We'll definitely touch on later when we start. Kind of like if your pronunciation, if your type of lesson is on the exam type, like in ALTS and TOEFL, then we'll try to help them that. Okay. All right. Okay. And that's it, I think. Is that it? All right. I think not. I think it's not the last. All right. So here, for now, we're just getting acquainted with the overall idea of the, IPS, this unique alphabet of sounds. It's great that you're observing those details. It shows that you are really looking closely. But for today, our main focus is just understanding what the IPA is and why it's so helpful for English pronunciation. That's what we are going to focus on this particular topic, even though we can try to elaborate what does this mean. All right? Okay. This visual truly is the heart of what we mean by a better design and better system as well. All right? Okay. That is on that IPA. Now, where am I? Okay. So that's actually just, part of how linguists organize and describe these sounds with the IPA system. Like the phonemic chart is a specific selection of IPA symbols used for a particularly language, wide language like English, and voiced and unvoiced refer to whether you can try your vocal cords practice. Okay? All right. Those are just, some good warnings. All right. Okay. That's on International Phonetic Alphabet. Actually, if we try to focus on this one, I've mentioned it also yesterday, right? That when it comes to this one, we are going to focus on us. We've already decided to go with this during these transformation, but yes, something like that. Okay. All right. All right, so that's on IBM. What is the next slide, I wonder? Well, absolutely. I definitely noticed that the part eking truth have voiced and unvoiced on the right side labeled yours truly chart and mentioning voice or unvoiced media school. Okay? All right, thank you so much. Now here, it's just a quick, not really quick, but we do not really dig deeper into that because um we are going to focus on letting my hair grow because that's just as important as I am right now. Okay? All right. Let me start with this one. On the IPA, those are fascinating details that we will definitely touch on later when we start looking at specific sounds and how kind of like they produced. Sorry for that. Let me just correct. Okay. I think I think everything's good for a moment. All right. So those are really fascinating details that we will definitely touch or later when we start looking at specific on the favorite speaker make it sound. Okay. All right. So those are just details that we hardly finally reason out. Today we try to control that, of course. Of course, this, not these, but those are, how do you call it? Those are just, some kind of like in the city hardware. Then that's, of course, obviously can't fit on that. All right. Okay. That's it. All right. That's on the vowel sounds. Okay. So those are just fascinating details. We will definitely hug each other on a low getting watered data attendees, of course. All right. So those are just fascinating details that we will definitely particularly touch after later on when we qualified to start looking for cafe with that sound particularly. Then of course no. All right. All right. I'm sure those pants are so comfy, so intelligent. Intelligent. Of course, it's something like that. All right. Okay. All right. That's it. So here, that's on the a sneak peek on what IPA looks like. what IPA looks like, the Internal Phonetic Alphabet. It's really important that you should undergo with the application process before you proceed to enrollment. Okay? All right. So this visual truly is the heart of what we meant by new. What are those? Maybe just sample, just a sample for that one. Okay. All right. When it comes to pronunciation, of course, there's so many. Of course, there's so many of them. First is on the that one. First is on that one. All right. Next is following that one, which is much more expensive. Okay. All right. Let's start with that for a moment. All right. This is the phonemic chart for International Phonetic Alphabet or the IPA. Now, obviously, there's a voiced and unvoiced part for it. Now, the vowel sounds are the ones in the how do you call it? Almost in the evening. Hurry. Please make enough social interaction for that one. Okay? All right. So if spelling is not clear enough, how do we get clear pronunciation, everyone? All right. So if spelling is not enough, how do we get clear pronunciation? Okay. If spelling wasn't enough, how do we get clear communication? It's time like that for how do you call that? Um, their concert. So if spelling is not always enough, this surprise pronunciation is really important as well to us. Okay. All right. So if spelling error conjugate isn't enough, how do we go? So if provincial local, you know kind of like um how do you call that? All right. So when it comes to pronunciation, if we spell that clear, pronunciation is clear, then we use the word subtle. If my spelling is not always enough, clearly it isn't. Okay? That's on GMTV. I would too if I had known. But yeah, we're going to start the class tomorrow. Alright? So if spelling is not enough, how do we get clear pronunciation? That's the first thing. That's the first duplicate, which is that one. Alright? Good. All right, that's on that one for a moment. All right, on the bottom, that's butter. Again, butter. Let's try to say it quickly this time. Butter. It's transferable, of course. All right. Okay. All right. Thank you for your. Thank you for the. How do you call it? Thank you for the. How do we call that? Thank you for what is contributed into this particular aspect of life for a moment. So let's start with that, of course. Oh my god, for a moment. Oh, okay, I think everything's good. We shall proceed if it is. Let me see or let me check my screen. It's not good. It's not looking good. How about this one? All right. Let's take a quick walk through what you are seeing. On the left side, you will see it's clearly divided into two wheels and consonants at the bottom. Of course, this helps to organize the different types of sounds. So under vowels, we are graduating. I don't know about that, but yeah, it's there. So we're gonna use it to our fullest. Of course, um, that is it for a moment. Sorry for that. That's the kind of ceremony I would possibly like or hate. Okay? Alright. This is, we're just going to focus first on the vowel sounds. The ones in blue or highlighted in blue, that's the vowel sound they're talking to. And lastly, another vowel sound, which is on, just her, um, how do you call that? Um, it's slow bad, of course. Alright. We are going to have the first one. Where's Lola? Yeah, that. Okay. We won't go into the shape as a passport, those kind of like TikToks, but we're going to focus on that also with part three, I think, I believe. Okay? All right. Next, next one, IPA visibility. That's good. Thank you so much for that. All right. Okay. Thank you so much. We have now completed the transfer schedule. Test of applicants, of course. Okay. That is all, which is, as important as the first one. Okay. Everyone, log in. All right. This is our generation. There's so many symbols. How English can really sound like. Okay. Despite different, how do you call it? Congrats? Is it congrats or no? But those little guys in the pocket, it feels very weird to me. Okay. Next to that is we have now completed our introduction. You can and will see how to practice that, of course. All right. Okay. All right. We have now completed the introduction to the linguistics and the factual movement, of course. Okay. All right. Next to that is these phonetic alpha sounds 360 made. Now this is not everything, of course, because it undergoes several steps on for that to really hold your hand. Okay, all right, okay, that's good. And can you hear really well? Britain never. She's also half red. I don't know where to begin actually. Okay. Wow. And once, yeah, if you're in the street, more successful in that particular aspect. Okay. All right. That's good. All right. That's the IP transcription if you're familiar with it. Okay. All right. Let's take a closer look, more detailed look at our first IP example on the screen. The owner here is a cat, right? They just perfected a few door of sun label. All right. Day four. That's good. When she is bent at the wall and decided to fix my kins or grasping on its. Okay. All right. Next to that is that one smart smart spread for that. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, well, we're going to focus on the concept of what came out of posters. There are praised their ability to 70, and it's also questionable. Okay. All right. But anyway, thank you so much for your active participation, everyone. I highly recommended that. Okay. All right. This is when what is there? I think Bisaga is already good, and that's automatically will be also good. Will also be good. Okay. No things for her. All right. We've completed our introductions to innovative strategies. Not innovative, but innovative. Okay, what you're saying, and where's your mistake? Okay, that is it. So this one, Anatic staff tan Twitter date and help that same day he got licked test at Sophia's challenge. So of course, okay, all right. I mean, everything looks good on you, everyone. Since there is a colon beside it, then that particular sound they are making is. Let's try to read this one, okay? All right, that's good. Are you ready to like give it all up? And next, everyone through talking guide. Okay. All right. Good. We are now completed. We have now completed this tools. It is why bald. It is why your household. It's every times you hear for that person. Okay. All right. That's good. Let's try to look at this particular word. It's very simple. But there's something in it. Let's start with clothes. We're going to focus on today, and today we're going to focus on that particular year. Okay. All right. Next to that is let's take a clear. The word is always up. But how everyone really speak. Okay. All right. Good. Okay. It's time to hope to vote pre-countdown. Okay. So for today's session, we've lost a lot actually. From first is on that one. Yeah. We're going to focus on that also. Short and long vowel sounds. Actually, there's a separate topic for that. Maybe this year or next time we're going to focus on that. You're going to focus on developing that. course. That's the first thing, the pot. Again, the pot. Now, this word, it encapsulates everything that we need. So, it is where it completed our hands. Takes that. If you are a Latin honor author graduate from Subirama University, they can't include the. Alright. Okay? That is good. Okay? Next to that is cat. We're not compu God direction. Okay. Alright. Alright, that's good. Okay. Alright. Okay. We do that, of course. Let's take a closer look, a more detailed look at our first IPA example on the screen, the word cut. This is a perfect word to start with it, as it clearly illustrates the beauty and simplicity of the cat system, even though it's a word where spelling and sounds happen to align quite well. So you see the familiar spelling CAT below this, but you find its pronunciation really weird. Okay? All right. Okay, that's good. So below that, you find its pronunciation represented in the International Phonetic Alphabet, which is the IPA. This particular one, the one in highlighted in the red, notice how very carefully, very carefully those forward slashes are. Whenever you see the letters or symbols placed between these slashes, it sounds so of the world that is not, that is providing us content, enough content for us. Well, okay. Well, I've mentioned that we should do that. Okay. But anyway, thank you so much. Let's try to focus on all individual sounds. First is on the end click sound. Okay. We focused on Nia. All right. That's it. Next is to try to break down each individual sound or phoneme that makes up my some of your key engines. Okay. All right. Next to that, doc, let's start with that. Okay. This is the IPA symbol for the hard K in cat. There's two versions of K in cat, and okay. Okay. All right. Let's try to continue. Notice that even though the English spelling shows us the letter C at the end, so notice how they're well behaved. Well, symbol has their trip, of course. Next to that is on Arman and Countdown, as well as number one week only. Okay, pronunciation test. Okay, next is to that. All right, let's do that. They're singing. Okay, that's it actually. So we do that. Okay, all right. Okay, that is good. Okay, all right. Thank you so much, everyone, for inviting me. Anyway, that's that. Let's just accept that. Okay, all right. Next is on query successful to this world. Enjoy just a little bit everything about it. Okay, I am being too honest as well as really tell really tell what's happening. Okay, all right, all right. Let's try to focus on this one. Measure again. Measure. What do you think is the last sound? Measure. It's a buzzing sound. It's a voiced sound. So let's try to say here measure. Okay. All right. That's good. Let's try that. Let's try singing that. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Let's do that. Next to this is what's the next word? Of course, sheep. Very simple. Where sheep. Okay. Let's focus on that. This word is a great example of how to explain another for another. Okay? Owen mo yung school ko na will also do that to you. That's just the very bad just impression of you. Okay. All right. Good. Thank you so much. As in, this is sheep. It starts with this letter. Now, the IPA transcription of the letter S and H or the sh sound, these are the sounds that it creates. Okay? Next to that is shaver, which is, of course, well, how do you call it? They are there. They're just there. Don't know what is happening, but yeah, they are there. Okay? I shall move on to sing. Another case where gender stereotypes are considered, of course. That's just how it is because we allowed it to be really, how do you call that? Be with them, be with Lola. Okay? All right. Next is on Excel. Maybe you can do that. Okay? All right. That's good. Thank you so much for that. Let's try to focus on that one. Okay? Okay. That's good. All right. Next is on be uploaded. You can review under the reviews, of course. Okay. Already gone to my station or to my house. All right. Let's try to do that. Of course, we already know that. Just so a little bit purple. Purple, of course. We do that. Now let's look at sing. Very simple. It's a very simple word, right? Single. Let's just wait for our turn and then they will guide us throughout the whole process. Okay? All right. Good. Next to that is this one. Okay? That is on that one. And after all of the breakdowns using her fans, the big, song on. That is how something's all big past mobile universe. Okay? All right. That's for that. Of course, sing. Very simple word. Oh no. You've been here before. Okay? All right. Your Digo. All right. Let's try to do that. Next, you could have. Mhm. Okay. Actually, the one highlighted in here is the consonant clusters. Not consonant clusters, but yeah, a combination of all the consonants that needed to be put into one container and mold them all together. Okay? All right. That's just it. Okay? All right. Next. Well, that is on sing. Next is session. We start here. Okay? So we are totally yelling at how we try to tell them to hand me down. Okay? All right. Thank you so much for that. So Fantastic work on sing, everyone. And is there another? Let me see. Okay, that one. So here, as you can see on the screen, it's sing, singing, singing. Don't know where it came from, but yeah, dating women. Anyway, there's actually a church here. All right, this exactly in this afternoon. All right, of course not good. It's outside for some reason. It's outside release. Okay. All right. So that is all night. We have no choice, but we focus on our dear, of course. All right. Thank you so much for that. All right. Okay. We do that, of course. That is on church. Church. There's three distinct sounds here. Ch, g. Church. Again, church. All right. Next to that is what are the next steps? A simple, how do you call that? Simple bagay siya. Okay, let's do that. All right, of course, because it's not a one-time thing, throw it all away. We try to use it as much as we want and be really far to what does that mean? Can you like tell me, just a little bit more thinner? Let me check. Let me check. Okay. All right. Thank you for teacher. Thank you for everything. Anyway, Como Cordova has advisories to pursue these tours, of course. Another way is that, all right, that's it. Measure your white ticket. Since today, okay? All right, okay, that's good. So when you look at it, measure, you're trying to see the price and an ambiguous number of, everything that I need to know. Okay? So look at that on the IPA description. It's better than the one because here our IPA really can be clear out. Okay? All right. That's on measure. Okay? Next. Okay. All right. It's on you. But never ever run away again. Okay? Don't do that. Okay? Don't do that. All right. Okay. That's how they do it. Of course, that's just gonna get her as explained very well. Okay? Well, there's just a little bit mental in there, but nothing really admirable at all. Okay? Okay? All right. Next to that, we have that one. Okay? Don't be forgetting that one. Okay? Next is that one. Okay. All right. Let's try to do that, of course. Thank you so much. Thank you for that. All right. That's on that. Next to this is pronunciation. Of course, since we're talking about this one, actually we've talked about many times of about it already. So we did that. All right, let's check. Yeah, we tried to do that, of course. He also confirmed it. It's just that the hair color is not really on the edit that I'm trying to see. But yeah, I'm gonna paste it immediately. Of course. That's, we want that, of course. So when you look at t-shirt, you're all asking a series of number of valuables in the presence, of course, in the field. All right, that's good. All right, let's focus on this one, on that very idea, of course. Okay, good. All right, let's have it. Whatever you need to do, just do that, okay? All right, okay, that's good. Next to that is, okay, yeah, that's how are they gonna do it. They try to use a co-payment one from festival when I went speaking. Okay, all right. Next to that is that one, okay? Thank you so much. Let us check for any kind of technical issues. Okay, that's good. Okay, that's good. Let's try to do that, of course. Yeah, that's the end, I think. We'll try to do that. So these are just, this particular phonetic sounds with 36 mouth shapes. It's just, very simple to do. We are in our discussion for the next session on we are going to focus there are we're going to focus on vowels first and then consonants. On our discussion on vowels, you'll be able to see the form of our form of each word mouth makes. Okay? All right. That's that. Now, it's very simple. It looks like that, but if you know how to say it, your say this particular sound, it will remind you of this, of course. Okay? All right. That's good. Next to that is, of course, her turn now. I encourage you, everyone, to try saying church aloud. Focus on making each of these three distinct sounds, the woo, and ch. Pay special attention when speaking, of course. Okay? All right. Great work with church. That was the challenging one, and you handled it well, of course. That is on, again, church. And I think everything's good. Let me see. We've also talked about measure, right? This one. Measure, which has two syllables. Measure. There are two syllables in it. Okay. For first, notice the apostrophe before the M in the IPA. The little mark is child still. All right. Okay. All right. That's good. So when you look at measure, you are seeing the precise and unambiguous sounds of the word measure, including the stress pattern. So despite the spelling having six letters, MEASURE, how IP shows is as call it, shoey, something like that. So that's just, one example, one specific example, scenario of this particular word, you know one concrete example so that it can really make you better understand that this particular topic of that one should be done more with care. Okay? Oh, do that. Make sure you pay special attention to the Z sound. It might be a new one for them, but still clearly, right? Okay, I received it already. So That's how they do it. All right. That's good. So I think everything's good. In this session, for today's session, we've talked about the International Phonetic Alphabet or the IPA, right? How is it a better system for alleviating the language problems of you as an as an English language learner? Okay, you try to do that. You try to express yourself, of course, because that's also another point. Okay, all right, good. Okay. That is on pronunciation. And with our ending on IPA, actually, it's not totally ending, but we are closing it for the meantime because we are not gonna able to, continue it in the present time. So we're gonna do that. Okay, let's try to do that. Well, anyway, everyone, let me see. Okay. Well, anyway, everyone, that brings us to the close of our second session on English pronunciation. I want to extend a huge thank you to each and every one of you for your engagement and hard work today. You've bravely stepped into the world of the International Phonetic Alphabet or the IPA, and that's a significant leap in your pronunciation journey, of course. Today we achieved some important things. We revisited the English, why English spelling often causes confusion for pronunciation. That's the first thing that we recapped. We recapitulate. We formally introduced the IP also in our small little town, Sangat. You got your first look at the full IPA charge, and that okay, this one we do that. So we achieved all those things. So the session was all about getting acquainted with the IPA and understanding why it's such an essential tool. You've now got a map. So get the map and you know what it's for. For upcoming sessions, we're going to take an even deeper dive into the IPA. We're not just going to look at the map from a distance. We're going to start exploring it section by section. We'll just begin with focusing on the problem. Okay? All right. We do that, of course. Well, get ready to fine tune your ears and mouths. You've made excellent progress. I'm an English, not English, but yeah. We are an English language learner, so we try to do that, of course. Okay? All right. So, great work today, everyone. See you next time for our deep dive into English for vowels. Have a great rest of the night ahead. Goodbye.